Up? We are live. It is Sunday. Welcome. Hop on here, hop on aboard. Let me introduce myself. I'll wait for everybody to hop on. I'm Dr. Pinesett, the pre-med productivity expert. And today, in light of Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain's recent suicides, I feel like anytime celebrities die, it stirs stuff up. But I think it's important that we talk about it from a real place because there's lots of everyday people, normal people who are suffering, just like those people are also suffering. So I think it's a great topic to talk about. You guys always know I'm always trying to talk about mindset and mental toughness and different things like that because I feel like the mind is, I don't know who said it, but someone said the mind is a powerful thing, right? I don't know, something like that, right? The mind is powerful, it is all powerful. And in the case of suicide, the mind is powerful enough to end a life. But in a lot of other ways and simpler ways, every single day, your mind is powerful enough to elevate your life in ways that you've never thought about before. And I think we're going to have a really real conversation. Parental discretion is advised. We're going to talk about some real life stuff. I'm going to share with you guys some emails that I get. I mentioned I get lots of emails from you guys, and some of them are kind of crazy, and some of them are kind of sad, and some of them are kind of So I'm going to share a couple emails with you guys. I'm going to share a couple student stories with you, and also some personal stories. And we're going to talk about depression and anxiety and burnout and suicide and all the bad things in life. And then we're going to talk about also the good things in life. So if this is an exciting topic to you, I already saw some of you guys commenting. If this is something that you want to hear about, I think other people need to hear about this. Before we forget everything, this video is important, okay? So take a second, like the video. More importantly, when the video is done or even now, whatever, send a text to a buddy, do something, let people know about this video so they can come watch this. This is not about anything, but this is about people's lives. And you never know who could benefit from this. And as Dennis just said, physicians kill themselves at the highest rates in the country. You guys can look it up. Physician suicide rates are off the chart. Physician depression rates are off the chart. Physician anxiety rates are off the chart. Stress rates are all off the charts. And what trickles down through that is physicians, residents, medical students, pre-meds, lots of stress, lots of anxiety, lots of feelings of judgment, lots of feelings of despair, lots of feelings of loneliness. And we're going to talk about that today. And so this is a super important topic. So just take a second, guys, and share the video now. Share it after you're done watching it, whatever it is. But let people know about this video because it could truly save a life. And I'm going to share a story with you guys, a very simple story about how little things like this can save someone's life. So that's me. Let me say hello to everybody. Harpreet, hello. Ali, hello. Killer Meister, what up? Yes, it is a sad topic, but it is necessary, like you just said. Meryl, hello. Ripley said, come to UCLA. I'll be at UCLA in July. David said, I needed this today, right? We all need this sometimes. We gotta hear about this. Elizabeth, Mo, Casey, Schoolboy Q, Kasim, Yesha, hello. Kim, um, Shiv, what up? All right, Britt and Owas. Okay, so real quick, let's get to it. Before I launch into my whole spiel, yes, the sexy gray beard, right? The silver fox is back. Um, I think this beard gets more rugged depending. It reflects my work week, and I just got off of. I've been at work since Friday morning, and it's now Sunday. I got off this morning, so I worked almost 48 hours. I was at the hospital off and on, and so I'm tired to say the least. I've slept like only a couple hours since Friday morning, so I'm tired. And that's what that beard reflects. And I'm also in the process. You guys see, right? The room looks different. I just moved this week, so my whole office is in boxes. I won't even share with you guys the shenanigans that we can see. Let's see here. Just boxes and boxes and boxes. So yeah. So that's a stressor, guys. Um, but yeah, so it's been a busy week. But why do you guys think that people commit suicide? I'm gonna tell you why. But why do you guys think people commit suicide? Don't say congratulations, Meryl. It wasn't a move that I wanted to move. We had to make a move because, as we're gonna talk about today, people in this world look for ways to be evil and be mean. And the person I was renting from was looking for ways to be mean and bring negativity. And I always tell you guys, you can't put negativity around you because it's infectious. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to move, be inconvenienced because I don't want negativity around me. So why do people kill themselves? Justin said they feel as if they have no hope. Excellent, Justin. I agree with that. Mo said hormones, sort of. Schoolboy Q said they don't love themselves, sort of. Yes, actually, I'm going to write that down. What else we got? Darren, I'm glad you like the topic. Mo said neurohormones. Schoolboy Q said they forget to love themselves. They feel alone and they feel they have no value. They feel hopeless. Okay, there are serious neurochemical imbalances in someone's body that show through physical characteristics. Well, I'm gonna disagree. So my neurohormone people, my hormone people, my neurohormone people, I'll get to you in a second, but you're not exactly accurate. People feel isolated, too much pressure. Low self-esteem, learned helplessness. I like that. Go into medicine for the wrong reasons and feel too overwhelmed. They may think there is no other choice. Yep, no other choice. Too much of their identity is tied up in their achievements. That's very good, actually. Dennis said, I heard that third and fourth years are way too intense, like for animals, way too many hours with little sleep. This drives them crazy. So lack of sleep, we can talk about that with my hormone people. What else? This is important because I think I asked this question because I really want you guys not just to sit here and passively listen to what I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to bring you guys some real stuff, but I think it's important for us to have thought about this on our own terms and thought about what would make me want to commit suicide. What makes me have really down days where I feel like there is no possibly other way out. Shiv said accepting and then internalizing self-defeating mentality, which once manifested in depressive suicidal ways. Following others blindly, I like that one. The Instagram culture, we're going to talk about that. They have no point in moving forward, right? There's nowhere else to go. The number of negative thoughts outweigh the positive. They feel tired of life, including the stress and pressure and lack of happiness. They may feel even their best isn't good enough. Lack of scheduling. I read a really sad comment in a suicide where a resident killed herself because she felt she was dying inside pursuing medicine, uh, but she didn't want to disappoint her parents. Brent, that's really, really good, man. I'm going to write that down. Unrealistic expectations. So this is live, guys, and I apologize that I haven't gotten to. I'm going to lecture. I'm going to bring it to you guys, but this is an important. I think this is more of a discussion topic because we have to talk about this. We have to break down what we're thinking. The imposter syndrome. I love that, and I actually wrote that down. Where is it? There it is. Feeling like you're a burden on others. Wow. I like that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Megan. Comparing to other people's achievements, Sudeep, yes. SDN, true. When I did not know myself, was not connected to who I am and what I wanted, I was susceptible to. Kim, that's beautifully said. If you guys didn't see Kim's comment, read Kim's comment because I think it's beautifully said. Probably gonna steal that, Kim, at some point. When I did not know myself, was not connected to who I am and what I wanted, I was susceptible to these thoughts. And I think we can probably start there, but let's run these cause and effect. So you guys know, to be effective, right? To have the effect we want, I think it's very important that we understand that the world is cause and effect. So to get the effect you want, something has to cause or trigger that effect to occur. In life, everything is cause and effect. And so often the reason people are not effective is they focus on the outcome, the effect, and not the cause, right? So, oh, I didn't get an A, dang it. I'm just gonna get an A next quarter. Well, you haven't identified the cause of your inability to get the A's, and therefore you won't get the A going forward. It's the same way with suicide and with depression. And what I was kind of thinking about when I was laying it out in terms of cause and effect, I was thinking that we have suicide at the end of the flow, right? So the very end effect is suicide. What leads up to that? And I think it's a lot of what you guys mentioned, but I think the thing that kind of encompasses a lot of what you guys said, I think there's two tracks. And the first track is the hopelessness. So I think the reason some people commit suicide is that they feel hopeless. And when you feel hopeless, right, it's like the person being chased by the police officers. When there is no other way out, it's either, right, something's got to happen, right? There's a sentinel moment there. And it's the same way with your guys' lives. When you feel hopeless, you're not gonna see another way, right? Someone said there's no other action points. There's nothing redeemable there. There's nothing else you can do. The only pathway is to end it and to be done with it and to commit suicide. And when I was thinking about where that hopelessness comes from, it comes from doubt and feeling out of control and feeling like you can't regain control of your life and of the things that you do and the things you feel, right? And I don't know about you guys, but for me, there's a lot of days, I feel like I'm a very centered person. And what's interesting, so let me sidetrack it for a second. I constantly get emails or comments from people telling me that I'm smug, that I'm arrogant, that I'm self-centered, that I'm self-absorbed, that I'm obnoxious, that I'm all these things. And someone said, I think someone called me smug, and I was like, why are you calling me smug? And they leave the same comment on every video. This person calls me smug once a week. And what I said was, I'm like, man, you've commented almost every one of my videos calling me smug. Why do you keep watching if I'm so smug? And they said, I like the advice, but I don't like the way you portray yourself. And I'm going to jump around here a whole bunch, guys. This is going to get convoluted. But are you guys all with me? Stay with me for a second here. I literally had a conversation with another medical student who's not a medical student anymore, who's now a resident at an Ivy League school, but he went to Stanford with me for medical school. And what he was saying was, we had a 3-hour conversation yesterday about this, because he just finished up, even though we're in the same class at Stanford, he stayed back at Stanford, did some research for a while, so he's just finishing up his intern year. And he called me because he knows I do this stuff with you guys, and I do a lot of, mind stuff, and I do it with the medical students. So I actually went back at Stanford and talked to some medical students in that capacity and lectured them about burnout and these different things. And so we were having this huge conversation. We spent 3 hours on the phone Friday night. And what was so interesting was he said, you know, Andre, when I met you, I hated you. I said, what do you mean you hated me? He's like, now I can recognize that it was jealousy and it was envy. But back then it threw me off, because I was like, and it was funny because he's like, even though we both went to Stanford, he's like, we interviewed, I don't know if you remember this, we interviewed on the same day, and I saw you at Second Look at UCLA. And I was like, man, I don't remember that at all. he's like, yeah. He's like, I remember you because everybody's dressed in suits at second look and they've got their ties on. And here you are, you've got a V-neck, you got a V-neck sweater on at second look day. And it just like was totally like this dad. Who is this guy who's so arrogant and so cocky that he doesn't wear a tie to the second look? He's just gonna wear a sweater. He's like, yeah. He's like, you were wearing a sweater and jeans, and everybody else was in suits. And I started cracking up. I was like, I do actually remember that. That was, that's what I wear. I don't like wearing ties. I don't like wearing collars, right? This is what I like to feel comfortable. But he's like, and then we came to Stanford, and you had all this confidence. You weren't coming to class, and I envied it, and I hated it. And what he said was interesting. And he's like, I feel so burnt out at the end of this year because I constantly feel like every day I have to prove myself. And I feel that someone mentioned the imposter syndrome. I feel like every day they're going to find out that I'm not as smart as they think I am. How many of you guys have ever felt that way, or do you feel like that on a regular basis? Where you feel like people are judging you, people are assessing you, evaluating you, and you feel like you're never, and someone said it, your best isn't good enough. Like you're not equipped. Like their judgment's going to reveal something about you. Right? How exhausting is that? How exhausting is that? If every day you feel like you're on trial and you have to prove yourself to other people, and in your mind, that judgment is already a negative. You can't win, right? You already feel like, man, I can never measure up. So you feel like I can't win this judgment, and I'm going to be judged every day. And who was it that just said that? Jenna just said it, right? You then start to pull away and isolate yourself, right? And then Darren just said it, it brings out your insecurities to the surface. And those insecurities, right, they make you envious and jealous of other people and of how they are. And what he was saying is like, man, how do you just not give any F words about what people say about you? He's like, I admire what you do get on YouTube because I honestly couldn't take all the negative hate mail and stuff you get and all the messages. I couldn't take it. Like I see some of the stuff and I wouldn't be able to be that public and be able to have people talk that crazily about me. And what I said was, and I said, the interesting thing, and this is, a lot of people don't like me, and that's fine. Like I said, if my confidence, if whatever, but people think it's a way of portraying yourself. And that person who said I'm smug and I don't like to portray yourself, it's like I don't portray myself in any one way. What you guys see is exactly who I am. I don't have to hide anything from you guys. I am who I am. There is no imposter here, so I don't have to worry about imposter syndrome. But how I feel about things and the confidence I have is real. And Kim said it earlier, and I forget the exact thing you said, Kim. If you could repost it again, so I don't have to scroll back to all the comments. But it was something about if you don't know who you are, and you aren't comfortable and confident with who you are, and you don't know who you are and what's important to you and what you're about and what you bring to the table and what your expertise is and what your abilities are, you're susceptible to other people's bullshit. Excuse my language. But that's what happens. Other people's bullshit becomes yours because you're not centered in yourself. It's the reality. And what's allowed me to be successful and enabled me, that's a better word, to be successful is that I'm so centered in me, you could never throw me off center. And people who have met me, people who have had conversations with me, if you guys ever meet me, I'm the same exact person you guys see on the screen every day. There is nothing different between how I talk on this on this YouTube channel and how I talk in person and how I coach people and how I interact with my family. Everybody gets the same me because it's me. I'm just me. I'm nobody else. It's just me. And You Can Start Anew said, I'm suffering depression more than 10 years, right? When you are in tune with yourself and you have a core center, it keeps you from being easily broken down by things. And what I explained to this guy who just finished intern year, I said, listen, man, I said, you can't go through your whole medical career caring about what other people think about what you're doing. You got to have your own internal scoreboard and score clock where you are assessing against yourself, and you like, listen, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I can do, and it's gonna be the best I can do of it, and that's what I got. And I said, there are people every day who hate on me, whether it's on this channel or even people at my work, right? Because people don't understand why I would spend time working with students. People are like, hey, you're a doctor, be a doctor, that should be all you think about. And I said, no, to me, the only reason I ever became a doctor, and this is the truest thing, you guys see my personal statement, it's the same thing, was I wrote about this. To me, medicine is fine, but the reason I became a doctor is I wanted people to have to listen to my voice. And as part of that, what I wanted to do was use my voice as a tool to help people improve. Does that make sense? That's what I wanted. And let me, hold on one second. And the racists are back out. So, but I wanted to use my voice as something that could help other people not be alone, not struggle, not have failures, to be better. And so to me, this is just as important as what I do at the hospital. But a lot of people can't fathom that. And what's interesting, and I'm gonna tell you guys a true ass story right now. This is a true ass story, and you know, it is what it is and it ain't what it ain't. I mentioned, right, I go out and I talk to residency programs about efficiency and productivity. What was so interesting, and I had a huge conflict with an attending, an actual faculty member at this university over this point. And what I explained to the residents was, I said, listen, residency can't be everything. And someone mentioned earlier, your identity can't be tied up in residency. Because there's gonna be days where you're a good doctor and days where you're a bad doctor. Or days when you have a good patient outcome, or days when you have a bad patient outcome. And if you are, if your whole identity is tied to what happens in the job that day, you're putting yourself in this position of peaks and valleys, where every day it's uncertain how you're gonna be. And I said, you have to be careful, because what medicine likes to do, whether on purpose or because they're don't understand it, right? They're oblivious to it, right? Because physicians think we know everything, right? We're invincible. They aren't willing to reassess what they've always believed is true. So they go on living a lie. And there's a great book, and this is off topic, on topic, but there's a great book. I actually just bought his new book, and that's why I was thinking about him. But this guy, this just came in the mail today, yesterday, Nassim Taleb. So you guys might have heard me mention him before. But he's a mathematician, but he writes about all these things that happen in our lives and how it's based on mathematics and how some of these things can be predicted or how they can't be predicted, and so we have to be aware, whatever. And what he said was, he wrote a book called Black Swan. And he talks about how the original definition of swan was a large white bird and some other characteristics. And it wasn't until they went to a different island that they found there was a black swan. It was the same bird, but it was black. And so they had to redefine their definition of what a swan is. And it's the same way in medicine, in that in medicine, for so long, people have done things the same way in medicine. That's why healthcare and insurance stuff is all broken right now, because doctors have had their eyes only in one area and thought that they'd known everything. They've known everything. And so they were like, white swan, white swan, white swan, white swan, right? Train our residents 1,000,000 hours, 1,000,000 hours, 1,000,000 hours. As physicians, we should work and we should never get tired. It's never thinking about ourselves. We only think about the patient. And that mentality has led physicians to this situation where their job becomes them, where the patient is the priority over themselves, and they train themselves to death. And so what happens in medicine is they encourage residents to do a lot of things on top of just their 80 hours a week. So when you guys see residents working 80 hours a week, on top of that, residents are expected to do research, just like you guys do research. You think you're busy? Supposed to do research, put out publications. We're expected to be serve on committees. I'm on the quality improvement committee for my program, right? We're expected to take on chief positions. And if you guys don't know, as a chief, right, if you're a chief of the medical department, chief of the surgery department, whatever it is, you have additional administrative responsibilities and you pick up the slack for other people. So if someone's sick, one of the chiefs will pick up that day and work for someone who's sick. And so it's all that responsibility, and they pay you $50 extra a month. You guys can look it up. Chiefs get paid probably $50 to $100 extra a month to have all these extra responsibilities. And what was interesting was in this talk, I was talking to the residents and I said, do not let your residency ruin your life. Do not let your residency make everything about residency and everything else falls apart. You have no balance. And one of the faculty members started talking about this, and I brought up, I said, listen, I actually was just at another program not too long ago speaking to the students, and afterward, one of the chiefs came up to me and told me how she is a chief and she's responsible for scheduling all these conferences and doing scheduling actual work schedules and all these kind of things. And because of that, she said her and her husband were super tight, super strong. She took on the chief position and she got so busy after her shifts and she was so stressed out by that. A, she was losing her hair, right? So the hormonal imbalances we talk about, she was losing her hair, but then also her husband felt neglected, felt like he wasn't being taken care of. He ends up cheating on her. And then not only is he cheating on her, but he actually filed for divorce and is actually going to get with this other girl who he had on the side. And now, the guy's a jerk. But what happened here, right, in a cause and effect scenario, is that she allowed the job to be too much. And it's easy now, guys, looking like standing back and not being that person, right? It's easy to say, oh, she shouldn't have done that. But how many of you guys are involved in activities or doing things that you're not passionate about, that you feel like are making you sick? How many of you guys right now, like the video right now or comment, how many of you guys feel like some of your commitments are making you sick because you don't sleep enough, because you don't eat right, because you don't get the rejuvenation, right? The stress relief that you need in your life because you're overcommitted, you're overextended. And you see it. And you see your relationship falling by the wayside. You see your family drifting away from you. You're feeling more isolated from your friends. You see all these things. But we judge other people, right? We see like, oh, that's ridiculous. How could she let her marriage go to crap and fall apart? She should have just not done that. But we feel this pressure to be perfect and to be right and to be everything to everyone. And then we end up being nothing to nobody. And so for $50 extra a month, she now has lost her marriage. So what's it all for? And it comes back to this being centered and knowing who you are. And Kim, I think, just asked me earlier, how did I find such a strong sense of center? And then we can kind of get into this, is the very first thing, guys, if you guys want to truly, truly, truly find yourself, right? If you want to truly, truly, truly be centered with yourself, you have to establish what your priorities are. And beyond establishing, right, how do we figure out what our priorities are? We have to figure out what our core values are. And what's amazing to me, and this is a conversation, this just actually popped into my head right now, but I had a conversation, we were in the operating room a couple days ago, and the surgeon who was doing the surgeon, we were doing a craniotomy. And the surgeon, the lead surgeon, he's Catholic, and then the resident is Indian, and he's not involved in an arranged marriage, but someone in his family just got in an arranged marriage or whatever. But we started this whole conversation about marriage and what it takes to make a marriage successful. And we got on this topic, and my wife is Catholic. If you guys don't know, Shannon's Catholic. And so if you guys know Catholics, before they get married, they make you go to a couple's like counseling sessions with the priest. Or as our church allowed us to do, was do a weekend getaway. So it's like a weekend retreat. And you go and all the couples get there and you do all these sessions, and you fill all these packets, all those kind of things. And Shannon and I had a great time because we had discussed everything already that they were talking about. But what was so interesting to see was how all these couples are getting married in a month or 2 months, and they hadn't talked about the most basic things. Or, right, and so they hadn't established their core values as a couple. And so they set themselves for failure. But more importantly, they knew they had different core values, and they expected the other person's core values to change. And it was just one couple, I'll never forget it, where the woman did not want to have kids ever, and the guy wanted to have lots of kids. And she thought that he was going to change, and he thought that she was going to change, but everyone in the room was like, man, that's a very core issue. Kids or no kids is a very core issue, and that's going to be a marriage ender, because someone's going to get the kids, they don't want it, or other way, like whatever it might be. It's interesting. But the problem is they didn't establish core values. And so many of you guys, you walk through your life and you don't have any why, any rhyme or reason for why you do the things that you do. And someone mentioned earlier, right? The parental pressure, the community pressure. Oh, I got to be a doctor because my dad said I'm going to be a doctor. And what you guys haven't experienced yet, but you'll experience at some point in your career, is not only the fact that, yes, you may get community pressure, early pressures to go into medicine, but once you're into medicine, the pressure then stops being from your family, it starts being from yourself. Because it's like being that bad relationship. And there's plenty of people who are in medicine, either in training or as physicians, who hate it, who hate medicine, who can't stand it, who would rather shovel elephant poop in the circus than to do medicine. But they stay in it because they've invested so much time. And so they feel a pressure to, oh, everyone expects me to finish. Everyone expects me to be a doctor. Everyone expects me to do this, right? And they put this own pressure in their own mind that, man, I've gone too far. Some people think I'm doing this for me to ever turn back, right? Or too much debt. I can't not be a doctor because I need to be able to pay off these loans. And again, I don't know who said this quote, but I was just thinking about this um, who earlier was no wrong job, and I forget who said it. No wrong job could ever be right. No wrong job could ever be right. Some of you are pre-med and you know in your heart you hate it. You know in your heart doctor is not what you want to be. And every day, how many of you guys, I mean, maybe a lot of you guys, but how many of you guys have days where you wake up and you say, I don't know. I don't know if pre-med's for me. How many of you guys wake up more than half of your days thinking, I don't know if I can go further in this. I don't know if I can do another quarter, another semester of this. I just don't know. Right? I can't do another day in lab. I can't do another day volunteer. I just can't do it. I feel miserable. I have a stomach ache every time I think about it. And what I think is so important is to recognize that having some of those days is normal. And someone just asked me, am I one of those people who stays in medicine because I've gone too far? And this is an interesting question to ask me because I'm someone who got into medicine knowing that it wasn't about the medicine for me. This is an important distinction. So I went into medicine knowing that for me, the medicine was secondary to what a medical degree would allow me to do. This is very, very important. I never got into medicine to do medicine. This is the truth, right? This is nothing but a truth. This is a truth station. I said, I'm always gonna tell you guys the truth. And anybody who's in my course, who's seen my personal statement, I didn't get into medicine for the medicine part of it. If you look at my history course going way, way back, I like to mentor. I like to teach. I like to empower. I like to educate. I like to learn. And all those things are aspects and byproducts of what a medical degree has allowed me to do. And as we talked about a couple months ago, right? I've now had medical director offers. I've had offers for dean's positions, faculty positions, all these things. And when people ask me, would I do it all over again? I 100% would do it all over again because it's allowed me to be in this position where I can go be a dean. I can go be a medical director. I can go do the things. I can do this with you guys and have that impact. So for me, I'm very fulfilled in that I get to do these things. Does that make sense to everybody? So I was very clear about what I expected, my core values. And this is the reality. And anybody who asks me this, and this is why, like I said, I get a lot of not only hate from you guys on YouTube, some of you guys, I get hate from other physicians, from other residents, because when I say that to them, it's blasphemous. How can your core values not be this? Because I have my own core values. I don't need to have the same core values as you. I don't need to have the same passions that you have. And in fact, I would say that there's a lot of physicians who aren't passionate about anything related to medicine other than the income. And that's the truth. That's the honest to goodness truth. And you guys know, you guys have met some of these doctors who, when you meet them, when you talk with them, you recognize, man, they are only here for the paycheck. And I talk economics all the time because if you aren't, if getting money isn't part of it, and someone just said how they're going to change the economics for their family. If you haven't thought about, hey, listen, I need to do a career where I need to make money, then you're slipping because money does matter. But one of the things I was going to talk about, and this is why these celebrities kill themselves, is that money is important. You should strive to make enough money to be happy, right? To have what you need. To not have to worry about where food is coming from, right? Because everyone says money doesn't bring happiness. But guys, poverty brings sadness to the nth degree. You guys have been poor, you know what's up. Poverty is awful. It's real. So when I was looking at careers, I was like, listen, I come from a background where I didn't have money. I don't want to be in that predicament for forever. It's not fun to worry about money every day. Being a doctor is a stable career. I'll always have employment. And I'll always have employment that's fairly well paying. If you haven't thought about that, right? If money didn't matter, we would all go be artists for the most part, right? We'd all go sit in a tree and paint. I don't know. But the security and what I want to tell you guys is what you see in these celebrities offing themselves, drinking themselves to death, using drugs to death, all these things. And Brett, I'm from Southern California, and I roll in some circles, guys, where I've gotten to meet a lot of celebrities. A lot of celebrities. And what's so interesting is so many of them seem so depressed to me. And I think part of it is when you have so much and you aren't grounded in your core values, nothing has value, nothing has worth, nothing can make you happy. You're just more and more and more, and you're just chasing it. And like when you look at these people like Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, they have all this money, they have all this success, they have all this admiration. But my question would be, and I don't know these people, is were they living a life that was in tune with their core values? Were they happy with the work they were doing? Does Kate Spade want to be doing bags? Or did she want to branch out and do scarves or something? And she couldn't do scarves because her business was telling her, this is your core business, you got to do this. I don't know. But my point is you can chase money, but it's not going to make you happy. I'm telling you guys. I know lots of wealthy people. I know lots of, right? Being from where I'm from, I know the wealthy people. And what's sad, or whatever you want to call it, is some of the wealthiest people in the world are some of the most miserable people. because they've accumulated all this wealth, all this stuff, all this material, but they have no foundation and there's nothing solid in their life. And they chase money instead of passion. And people criticize me because I don't say that, hey, being a physician is my crown jewel and that's all I want to be about. And to do this with you guys, especially the way I do it, right, with my courses being so cheap, right? That's the honest good truth. With my courses being so cheap and so affordable, my margins are razor thin. I'll never be Dr. Rich from having a business working with students. But someone just said it, right, Darren? I don't need to sell my soul to the devil. I would never, and you guys, I've said this, people don't understand this. Rarely do I do anything I don't want to do. Rarely do I do anything that I don't want to do. I live my life, I'm not willing to sell myself to do something I don't want to do. To me, it's not worth it. Because in the end, like you said, it's like, I won't go there. The point is, guys, it's easy. It's easy to make decisions based on the immediate gratification or on the superficial. That's the reality. It's easy. What's harder to do is to look inside yourself and make the tough decision. To say, you know what, I'm okay not making that extra bit of change. That's the reality. And for certain people, and I've seen this happen, it's very unfortunate. And actually, so we can talk, you guys come here for real. So we actually have, in our program, moving over to anesthesia, we had this year like 6 surgery residents trying to move over into anesthesia from different surgical specialties. And what was interesting is talking to them right in the break room and different things. A lot of them said, man, I went into surgery because I wanted to make that extra money. I wanted to make that extra money. And they realized the amount of hours, the amount of stress, the amount of that I don't like to cut and I'm cutting every day, it's just not worth it. And they're changing into anesthesia, trying to, or changing into something else because they're like, man, I'd rather make less and do something I actually care about doing. That's the reality. And if you guys can start knowing that now, that make your decisions not based on the money, but make it based on your passion and what you want your life to be, that's what it's about. What you're passionate about. Don't chase money. And I'm going to respond because Trevor's on here being a troll, and it's okay, because it's what we get every week, is these people who don't understand and want to come in and criticize. They want to come in and criticize, but they haven't taken the time to understand anything. And so Trevor says, I say I have cheap courses, and I have an MCAT course that's $250. I have an MCAT course that's $250. And Trevor says that's not cheap. But the question is, how much is any other MCAT course? That's the only question I'm going to ask Trevor. Is all I'm asking you is, if my course is $250, and the reality, guys, right? I always tell you, I'm telling you guys the truth. I can only tell you guys the truth, right? I can only tell you the truth. What if I told you that not 1, not 2, but 3 of these other MCAT companies want to license my course and sell it to you guys for more than $1,000 as an add-on to their courses because they recognize the ineptitude of their courses? It's not like they're bad courses, but what my MCAT course does is not what people do because they miss that gap. So could I charge $1,000 for my MCAT course? Sure. For my How to Dominate Pre-Med course, could I charge $5,000? Sure. Right? Everybody wants to talk about this stuff, but it's real and it's fake. I don't, one way or the other way. So I want people to understand it's not about money. Okay? It's not about money. Don't chase money in your lives, guys. You'll never be you'll never be happy. All right. The second thing is priorities. I talked about having your core values. I mentioned that I don't like to do things that I don't want to do. Medicine, sadly, is 90. Let's rewind. If you guys don't know, and a lot of people aren't telling you this, which is really sad and unfortunate, a lot of medicine is changing and changing rapidly. Rapidly. Medicine now, from a physician standpoint, is extremely different than it was 15 years ago, than it was 10 years ago. Medicine 5 years from now will be even more changed then. And we mentioned how the suicide comes from this hopelessness, right? And from being, I said, out of control, or someone said this pressure, right? To feel like you have no chance to live up to it. Feel like you're a burden to other people, having like the identity tied to your job. And what's interesting is that, and I'm gonna make this real brief, because I did a video kind of about this a long time ago, but you guys know what commoditization is? So a commodity, when things are commoditized, it's a commodity, it's a thing. Anybody have another economic term? What's a commodity? If something's commoditized, right? It's made into a product and asset, right? So quite simply, like bread is a commodity. You can't charge more than $20 for a loaf of bread. Why? It's a commodity. Bread is pretty much interchangeable. To a degree, you can go up to like $8, right, for your 18 grain, whole grain wheats or whatever, stone pounded wheat, whatever it is. But there's a finite limit to how high you can raise bread because it's a commodity, right? It's a product, it's a thing. And you use it, right, and it is what it is. And what's happened in medicine is that medicine is now a commodity. It's a commodity. You have seen this happen, right? Everybody's seen Amazon, right? You've seen these large companies now who are not traditional healthcare companies are coming into healthcare and buying up healthcare companies. They're also buying up physician groups, all these types of things. So you're seeing this corporatization of medicine. And the reason these corporations are doing this is because they recognize that doctors are bred from pre-med, from medical school, from residency, to do what they're told, to not ask questions, to not question things, to do what they're supposed to do. Does that make sense? Physicians are bred that way. How many, like, right? So there's so many pre-med robots. They can't figure out why their application doesn't stand out. Well, why? Because they've done everything every other pre-med has done. They're robots. All through the process, you look up to your attendings, right? Even though I'm a doctor, I have to call my attendings Dr. Such and Such, even though they call me by my first name. So you're taught this hierarchy to always listen to your elders, don't ever question, do what you're told, work the long hours, study this stuff. Well, wait, why do I have to take these pre-med courses? I don't feel like this course really relates to this. Do it. Oh, I feel like the MCAT, do it. Well, why do I have to pay this much for applications? You do it. How would I have to pay $100,000 for medical school? You'll do it. Go into residency, why do I have to work 80 hours? You'll do it. Can I get a sick day? No, you can't. You'll do it. You become a doctor. Hey, you have to work these many hours. You get this many vacation days. What? I need. You do it. And you guys have seen articles, right, about doctors having to give up, right? Having to give up missing their family holidays, missing those special moments because they don't have the flexibility. And so all this happens, right? So they're bred this way. Then these companies come in and they buy these groups, and now they're running the group, and now they have a workforce that has been trained to never question anything and to do what they're told. So they realize this is a great workforce to have because now I can mobilize these doctors to provide the care, and I can shrink their salaries. I can tell them how to provide care, right? By having protocols that are gonna be in the interest of saving me money, right? So that way I can keep the money as the practice owner. And so my margins increase and I can make money and the physicians don't question it. With all this, physician money is going down, but that's not the biggest problem is physician freedom has gone down. And physician pressure has gone up. They have to produce, right? They have this, they're a commodity, so they've got to produce, they're replaceable. Your primary care doctor 1, your primary care doctor 2, if you don't do it, I'll get someone else to replace you. Right? This is the problem with medical training. At any point, if you want to stand up for yourself, they can always replace you because there's always someone else who didn't get in to that medical school, to that residency, to that job. That's a great job that would take your job for less money. Does that make sense to everybody? And so because of that, you have no leverage. You can't talk for yourself, and so you feel like everything's out of control. And when things are out of your control and you feel pressured and you feel like a burden and you feel like you can't keep up, right? You can't serve your patients the best you can, you feel what? Hopeless. You feel like you can't do anything other than suicide. And that's the truth about why physician suicide rates are so high. They're gonna lie to you and tell you it's because we see trauma, we see death. Guys, trauma and death phases not nobody. I kid you not, we will smile and talk about the Lakers and how they're gonna be amazing this year during crazy trauma situations. The heart is open, bleeding, whatever, we'll be talking like normal, doing our job. Because we do it every day. It's not for you guys, like, oh my gosh. For us, every day somebody's bleeding out. Every day somebody's bleeding out. That's our norm. So to see somebody bleeding, to see someone die, that's every day. That's not the stressful part. The stressful part is you're being micromanaged from above. There's this huge bloat of middle management in healthcare. You have MBAs, all the people floating in who are becoming the doctor's bosses who are squeezing you, telling you as a primary care physician, hey, you have to see your patient, chart, get these things done, all this stuff within 12 minutes. And most of you guys, you know, what can you really do in 12 minutes? Nothing. And so the frustration factor is so high, that's the hopelessness. And as premeds, right? I can't say it enough. So many of you guys get pressured into doing things that you're not passionate about. You do all this stuff that you hate doing and you wonder why you're miserable. You let people tell you that getting A's is the most important thing ever. And some of you guys are literally actively and slowly killing yourselves. You're on the slow track to suicide by just destroying your lives for this pre-medness. And you guys know me, I'm always saying you got to want it more than anything. But at the same time, you have to understand what the line is, where the limit is, where you will not go, won't go, can't go. You've got to have that clear line. You got to have that line. And having that line, I'm telling you guys, because I'm a person, and it was so interesting. I was having a conversation with a medical student yesterday, or 2 to 3 days ago, a person from my medical school, about like being sure of yourself. And he's like, man, do you ever feel like you're too cynical? And I started laughing because truly, guys, I am a very cynical person. And I'm cynical in the sense that the way I would use the term is that I'm always looking at how things could go wrong. I'm never like, oh, the glass is half full. I'm always the glass is half empty, but how can I fill it back up? Does that make sense? I feel like I have success because I'm meticulous. I'm always like, no, it can be a little bit better, or oh, I'm at risk here. And I'm always tweaking and improving and looking at things. But at the same time, this is where people miss it, right? This is no excuses, just dominate. I say no excuses, but sometimes there's an explanation. I don't always succeed, but I succeed most of the time because I do everything I can. But there are times where I come up just short of a goal. And I find the explanation for why that happened. And I'm gonna share, I'm not gonna read the email because I think it might like put the actual person out there, but I'll summarize this email I got. It's from a young lady. This young lady, and it's a rough roll. So everyone, if you're squeamish, this is parental advisory. If you're squeamish, step away from the phone for a second. There was this woman who emailed me, and she laid out her whole life story, and it had me in tears. And I get some of these emails sometimes. I just have to like talk about drawing a line. Sometimes I have to shut it down when I get some of these emails, because I get them and I'm like, oh man, that's hard. Thank you for sharing that with me, but golly, that's a lot for me on my day. But what she was explaining to me was that, long story short, she was molested by multiple male family members and by multiple friends of family, all coming up. She then was sexually assaulted in college. Through all this, right, she ended up leaving college. She's been in this massive depression, rut, whatever, and now she's had time, she's gone to therapy, whatever, and now she's back in school. And all this stuff happens. And in our lives, guys, bad stuff is going to happen. Failure is going to happen. And we have to acknowledge that it happened. And we have to sometimes say that just because it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen doesn't mean that I should feel bad and guilty about it. And what she was explaining to me in the email, which I thought was really beautiful, is that she felt responsible for the molestation, for the assault. And she said what made her leave school was not the fear of another assault or anything like that. It was the guilt she felt about allowing these men to sexually assault her throughout her life. And what she said is now putting her in a place to come back to school is that she's left that guilt behind. She's worked with a therapist, all those kind of things, and she's recognized that it's not her fault. Right? She had worked with this therapist to identify that it was not her fault, that there was nothing for her to feel guilty about, that it was something bad that happened to her. And when I go out and do talks, I often talk about how things can happen to you, but you can't let things define you. And you can't let things hold you back. And what I see a lot of times in people who are at risk for depression, anxiety, suicide, is they hold on to everything. Like I said, I'm a very cynical person. Yes, the glass is half full. They didn't go exactly perfect. But I don't blame and guilt myself if it's not perfect. I just aspire to be better. And this is a kind of an extreme example, but it wasn't the assault. It was that she felt guilty about the assault. It was her fault. And she was blaming herself, and she was blaming so much that she couldn't move past it. And it wasn't until she stopped blaming that she could move past it. And for you guys in your careers, it's easy to blame yourself and to continue to be stuck on this mind and this mode of focusing on this negativity and the bad things that happen. You guys have to remember, bad things are going to happen. Screw ups are going to happen. You have to move forward. You can't let last semester's grades hold you back to next semester. You can't allow first year to make you struggle second year. I mean, because how many of you guys have experienced that? How many of you guys have had a bad semester, a bad year? You had a bad encounter in lab one day where you looked silly in your research lab. And instead of just being like, okay, tomorrow's gonna be a better day, you let that one bad day become the thing where you're avoiding the PI, or you're avoiding that person, or you're staying, right? You avoid a whole lab for a week or whatever, like, right? You do all these things to avoid, and you compound the problem instead of fixing the problem, making it better, moving past it. Do you guys get what I'm saying? And when you get enough of these bad incidences and you get enough guilt build up, you start to feel, and this is the other track I was going to talk about that some of you guys were getting to, is we feel lonely. We feel isolated, right? We feel unlovable. We feel unacceptable. And we feel like we're the only one in that position. Does that make sense? And someone else mentioned here, right? You don't love yourself. You don't feel like others love you. You don't feel worthwhile. You don't feel like you have self-worth. And when all these things happen, right, and you feel all these things, and the end game of this is you feel unsalvageable. Like no one will ever love you. You can never come back from these things. And I know you guys have experienced this. How many times have you guys had something happened? And in the moment you felt so embarrassed. Everyone's heard someone say this expression, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed right now, I could just die. I wish I could just die right now. I feel so embarrassed. And people say that and they put that out in the atmosphere and people are joking most of the time. But sometimes people can get so embarrassed about something. It can be so irreparable in their mind that they can't go back. And Brent just said it, right? Parental and peer pressure. And this is what my next point we're gonna get to, is the people you put around you and the people's thoughts and opinions you allow to affect you are extremely important. Extremely important. I know your parents want the best for you. The problem is a lot of times parents don't understand how to get the best for you. Does that make sense to people? Your parents aren't trying to make you feel guilty, aren't trying to hinder you from getting ahead, aren't trying to make you feel bad. They just want what's best for you. The problem is they don't recognize, they have a blind spot when it comes to you, and they can't see that them telling you, hey, you have to get the A. Hey, you have to do this. Hey, be better. And I get, actually, when I go to talk to some of these students and also these residents, I'll have female residents. Hey, my parents keep pressuring me about when is the baby coming? When am I gonna get married? I'm unmarried. I need to have a baby. They're putting so much pressure on me that I feel terrible. My mom is constantly telling me I'm an old maid and I'm never gonna get married because I'm 29 or I'm 31 or I'm 33 and I don't have a serious relationship and a baby on the way, right? And what mom wants for you is she wants you to have that family unit, right? But she doesn't recognize that when she says that, she's making you feel bad about the decisions you made to establish yourself as a strong, independent woman and pursue medicine. Right? She's not trying to make you feel that way, but all she's thinking about is, right, in her mind is, I want her to have babies. I want her to have someone to spend her life with. She's not thinking about the fact that, mom, listen, I think about babies every day. I think about the fact that my career, there isn't a great time to have kids. And I'm trying to figure that out. I got that weighing on me. I don't need that on top of it. And you have to be highly attuned to this. Your friends often are the same way. They have this blind spot. You have to recognize, and this is why, again, having that core centeredness of who you are and having your core value not tied to how other things are happening, just kind of doing your best, is that people are going to say things to you that have the potential to hurt your feelings. That's the reality. You guys see the trolls on here, right? And what's interesting now, right? I have this bot that catches spam. So you guys actually can't see, but some of the stuff, even before it gets posted, it gets flagged as spam, and I see it. So I have like a lot of stuff out on my screen right now, but I see the right side of the screen. And there's people on here right now calling me nigger right here on the screen. N-word this, N-word that, F you this, da da da. All this stuff right here. And I see that as I'm talking to you guys, and I see the comments on the left. On the right side of the screen, all I get is negative comments on the whole right side of the screen. And what's interesting about that, right, is when I first got this spam bot, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like that feature. That's not, I don't, ooh, that's kind of throwing my groove off. But what's interesting, guys, is nothing anybody who's negative says to me ever matters to me. And this is why I think also my cynicism has helped me, is that I'm so critical of myself. I have such a high standard for myself that I know that no one else could be more accurately critical of me. And so if someone is telling me, oh, listen, you need to do this, or you're this, or you're terrible, you're this, whatever, I know that can't faze me because it can't be accurate. It can't be, right? And as I said on the stream last week, right? People who try to do great things, they get pushback from mediocre minds and all those kind of things. There are a lot of uneducated, a lot of non-forward thinking people out there. And you have to be clear about who you're going to allow to affect you. And someone said, let me see who it was. Let me give them full credit here. I can't remember who said it, but someone mentioned reaction formation. And people call it intellectual, what is it called? Emotional IQ. There's a lot of different names for it, emotional intelligence, all these different kind of things. But no one ever gets my goat. And I'll give you guys a perfect example. I went to Vegas last weekend with the wife. You guys remember I was out there, I was doing an event for one of the casinos. It was an awesome thing. Got to talk to a bunch of employees. It was amazing. And as part of that, right, I had a per diem every day. I had to spend this money per diem every day. Otherwise, if I didn't spend it, I didn't get the money. So we were balling out in Vegas, right? You guys might have seen some of the photos. Like, it was awesome. I could never live like that on what I make. But it was awesome that this event came per diem. So one of the nights, we got a table at Tao, the nightclub. It's a big nightclub, whatever. Vegas is expensive. So we got a table for me and just the wife, two of us. And as part of that, the table right next to us. So we didn't just have any table. We had a super nice table. So the hotel kind of like helped us out, whatever. Anyway, so long story short, it's me and my wife at a table that seats 12 people. So we had this whole section that's supposed to be for 12 people, and there's two of us in there. And you know how clubs are. People crowd around you, whatever, and people are trying to get into the area. And so security keeps trying to like push people back and bounce people back and whatever. And then so guys are upset about this, the fact that I'm there with my wife and we got this huge table. I'm like, I'm not doing anything to you. I'm just like living my life. And so people start yelling stuff at me across the rope, you know, trying to, whatever. And so what's interesting is my wife knows me and my wife are tight. We're going to have the couples podcast or the couples video series starting on Wednesday. But some guy said some comment that I felt was highly inappropriate to my wife. Okay? So I walked up to him and I said some discouraging words back to him. And what was interesting was security was like, hey, don't these guys get you fired up? I've seen this happen before. People start going to... And I was explaining to security, I said, listen, nobody can ever get my goat. Because he said, like, get your goat. And I was like, I'm totally calm. But I was explaining to him in a calm voice that sort of language won't be tolerated. I have excellent ability to filter out. You will never get me upset. You will never bother me because you can say whatever you want to say about me or to me or whatever, but it doesn't impact my identity of me. Does that make sense? I know it was a long, convoluted story to get to that. But here are these people trying to throw stones at me for nothing. I'm just sitting there. In your life, people are going to throw stones at you intentionally or on accident. And you have to recognize that it's not what people say to you or do to you. Right? People say, oh my gosh, she broke my heart. He broke my heart. No, she wronged you. And whether your heart gets broken or not is you. You have to decide how you allow other people to take power over you and to control your life. It's so important. And I know you guys get this parental pressure. Don't let your parents control your life. Filter it out. Understand when they say you need to work harder, right? Those grades aren't good enough. When they say those things, you take a second and use your parental filter and say, what they're really saying is, I love you so much. I know you're capable of doing better. You aren't going to get into medical school with what you're doing. You would be an amazing doctor, and I want to see you get there. I love you so much. Go to medical school. Do the things. That's what they're saying. Does that make sense? It's important, guys. And I say that, and I had a whole bunch of stuff. We won't get into all this stuff. This is we're at 70 minutes already, and I haven't even gotten to, I actually planned some stuff out. We're like half through the page. But I'm going to tell you guys one story. I went to Stanford Medical School. Well, in one of the classes above me when I was at Stanford Medical School, Stanford lineage student whose parents had gone to Stanford, all that other stuff, whatever, killed themselves. And they left a suicide note, and in their suicide note, they specifically said how they didn't want to go to Stanford, they didn't want to be a doctor, but they did all of this to keep up with what their parents had planned out for them. They talked about how their parents had planned out their whole life for them, and they had this plan to this whole plan for their whole life, to everything they were going to do, and they felt like they were out of control of their life. They weren't making, the life that they were living was not their own. And you guys might have seen there's also been a big group of a lot of high school suicides as well, from these students who are like robo students whose parents, you got to go Ivy League, you got to do this, you got to be in this club, 15 hours a night of piano, all these kind of things. And the kids kill themselves. And they kill themselves because they don't have the control. They feel hopeless. They're like, man, I'm running 1,000 miles per hour, parent. Please, just let me be me. I don't want that. And I want to say to you guys, don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself. At MDG, you said, I wonder if you can talk to parents about this. I do. I have a parent workshop that I do that I've done for a couple of high school parents groups where I talk about this. You've got to let kids be kids. And as you guys as kids, I call you guys kids. I'm a kid. I'm young, even though you see these gray hairs. We're all continuing to grow every day. We're all susceptible to things. There are days where I do feel sad. Sometimes a comment does, like, oh man, it does hurt me, sting me for a second. Right? And I got to regroup. Right? Don't kill yourself. And we'll close it with this. I mentioned how you don't let people's negative things or what can be portrayed as negative affect you. But the other thing you have to do is you have to put positive people around you. We talked about that isolation. I talked about that loneliness, when you feel alone, when you isolate yourself, all these things. This is the number one thing, guys. I don't know if you guys have seen the show 13 Reasons. And give me 1 second, guys. I got to plug in this phone because otherwise we're going to die and I'm going to lose you guys. Let me see how I can plug this in. We're going to make this work. Does Is that my family?
Sorry, yes.
Come on in. Come here. Hey, bud. What you got?
Parker's here.
Oh, is Parker here? Are you guys playing?
Yeah. He's outside.
He's outside?
Yeah.
Cool.
He's playing.
Are you going to go play too?
Yeah. We need dinner.
You need dinner?
She's the dinner.
Dinner.
Okay, you guys get dinner. You guys see what's happening in my house here. Those are the positive people in my life coming through here. Okay, let me see if I can. Well, that didn't work. Okay, we're gonna have to jerry rig something crazy here to make this work. Yeah, we're not gonna make it. Okay. Anyway, okay. So real quickly, because I'm not gonna be able to plug my phone up, it's gonna die here. What I wanted to say is when you put people around you, we live in this Instagram culture, guys. I can't say enough. All these social media things are very depressing because you only see the highlights of people's lives. And as part of that, what I want to address is don't live a fake life. Don't be an imposter because it is the track to suicide. I don't know if you ever heard the term cognitive dissonance, but it's essentially when your beliefs don't align with reality. And it's like what happens in movies when someone meets their future self and they see each other and the time chasm splits, right? Because it's cognitive dissonance or something like that. Anyway, I just made that analogy so everyone can see what I'm talking about. But essentially it's one self seeing another self and it's not an agreement. When you live as a fake and as a phony, when you say, oh yeah, pre-med is easy. Oh yeah, I never have any struggles. Oh yeah, I'm perfection reincarnated. I'm having so much fun. I'm so rich. I'm so all these things. When you post all that on social media, and then when you go back to your apartment and you are who you are, the terrible struggling student who's poor, you create this misalignment between reality and what you think you are. And so when those two things collide, it's a recipe for disaster. Depression, anxiety, suicide. And so I encourage you guys, I know you guys get pressure to be posting all this whatever, and all your successes on Facebook. Just be you. Don't be worried about being perfection. Right? When I come on here, I tell you guys all the time, I was not the best student when I started out. But I worked hard. I'm still not a great reader, but I work hard. Right? I didn't know what I was supposed to do to get into medical school. I didn't have all the resources. I had to find, right? But I figured it out and I worked hard at it. I did all these kind of things. I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. Right? I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I'm some big ballin' doctor. Oh, no, I am who I am. Don't be a fake because it's gonna be miserable when your life doesn't meet what you post on Instagram. It's sad. It's awfully depressing when your social media looks like, woo, you live in that yacht life, yet you barely got a roof over your head. Don't be a fake phony. As an extension of that, don't allow fake people to be around you or to make you feel bad. Don't be on Instagram worried about how someone else is looking. Don't be on studentdoctor.net worried about how someone else is doing. And I see this happen every application season when people let other people's comments about their application mess them up. Oh man, someone said that about that. Someone says that. And it makes their self-esteem go through the toilet. Or my GPA is not high enough, right? And we had that whole discussion last week about the GPAs. And everyone wants to talk about the GPA stuff. And I deleted last week's video because I recognized, right? We have to recognize, right, our reaction formation is that I get frustrated because it's terrible that there's so much junk out there and so many people who don't know what they're talking about giving you guys bad stuff. And so it infuriates me when I have to talk to knuckleheads about the facts they got from studentdoctor.net or from AAMC. Yet I know the people who do the double AMC studies. Like I don't like I can't I can't argue with you when you're like, oh, the website says. It's like I'm not. I can't even compute with that. Like, oh, the website says. Okay, fine, fine. You know what? Believe everything you read on the website because the interweb is the most accurate thing. But anyway, don't let people freak you out about your application because you don't have a 3.8. Don't let people freak you because your MCAT is not a 5.15. You can be a great applicant as you are. At the same time, you can't be terrible, right? But understand, be confident in who you are, and don't let other people make you feel bad about what you're doing. Because we all have our own growth curves, and maybe you got further to go in your growth than other people, but don't worry about it. Just recognize you can get better, you can do better things, you can be successful, but you got to keep getting better and progressing, and you can't let other people make you feel bad. Don't let people make you feel bad about yourself. You have greatness inside of you. I promise you, you guys all have greatness inside of you, but you got to stop caging that beast by procrastinating, right? By being lazy, by not getting your sleep, by not believing in yourself, by not executing what you know you have to do. You have greatness within you. Make it happen, guys. And if you feel hopeless, I promise you, it's gonna be okay. Find someone to talk to. Send me an email. I'll try to get back to you. I try to respond to all the emails. Don't don't end your promising life because there's greatness within you. And I didn't even show you guys, but so you guys will see it. I have a whole set of shirts now that all are about greatness. And last week in Vegas, I wore. I won't even tell you what the shirt was. I'll show you guys the next one up in the series, but it was about the greatness within. And so it just recognize, guys. I'm here to tell you, you are great. You are amazing. You are wonderful. Somebody loves you, and at the same time, be a person who spreads love and goodness. Hug people. Tell people something good about them. Hey, girl, you're looking good today. Hey, guy, you're looking good today. I love them jeans. You look like a happy, fun-loving person, right? Spread positivity. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So, and I'm gonna get out of here because my phone's gonna die right now. But take a second, like this video. Take a second, share this video. It's not about me, it's not about you, but you never know who's suffering inside and could use some support, could use some advice, who could use a pump up. Share the video. It takes 10 seconds. There's enough of you guys on here. Like the video and then just share the video to your social media and say, listen, guys, please check this out. Please, I love you. Don't kill yourself. Share it with your friends and say, listen, guys, I want to let you know that I love you. I think you're amazing. If you ever need to talk, I'm here for you. Check out this video and then come call me, talk to me if you're having negative feelings. Don't let someone go unloved today. It could make the difference in their life. That's all I'm trying to say. Everyone, be good to yourselves. Be good to other people. I'll see you guys next Sunday. We'll be live streaming. New recorded videos, Tuesday and Thursday. Okay? And everyone was all hyped up this week when I said, don't take summer school classes. Well, on Tuesday, you're getting the video that says 3 reasons why you should take summer school classes. Because there's always nuances to everything. And the couples video series, it's going to be called No Excuses, Just Love. That will start on Wednesday with the beautiful and talented Shannon coming at you. So we'll be on here together. You guys get to meet her. She's way better than me. Way better than me. Yes, Tuesday, Thursday on YouTube. New videos every Tuesday and Thursday. And then on Wednesday, you're going to get that couples video series, No Excuses, Just Love. You guys are going to love Shannon. She's amazing. If I could be her for a day, I'd be her for a day. She's way better. Let's get it. So, yeah. All right. Everyone, have a wonderful evening. Remember, take a second. Like this video. Share this video. If you're new to the channel, take a second, subscribe. All we're trying to do here is bring positivity and bring possibility and bring information, all kind of stuff. And Meryl, yeah, we'll have a webinar also this week. I'm going to send you guys an email for the How to Dominate Premed and How to Dominate the Medical School Application. We're going to have our live webinar, kind of refine up some points this week. There will also be some video updates to the course this week, breaking down some application stuff for you guys to see. So everyone have a wonderful, wonderful day. Cult of Greatness gang, we out.